Well, technology is like a gun. It's whose hand it's in. And so we need the gun in the people's hands, the gun of expansion, instead of in the globalist hands. And so just because Elon Musk is on the cutting edge of every technology, don't fear the technology like some troglodyte. Fear us not being in control of it. And Elon is saying we need to be an expansionary human explosion of competition and freedom, not some new dark age with a tiny breakaway civilization that's only working for itself. Sorry, I'm ranting.
No, no, but you're completely right. Because if Elon doesn't push these boundaries, they will push these boundaries. And once they have the sole control and the monopoly over such technologies, it's over for all of us. And I don't think most people understand. It simply is the humanistic view against the death cult view. And there's people in the world who have no
Yes,
interest in, they have no interest in growing humanity, no interest in advancing the species as a whole. Their interest is in power and
true.
control. And all they want to do is have absolute power over the people that currently exist and their children. And you can talk about all the perverse reasons they want to do those exact things. But it's truly scary. And all the people at home who don't really understand the gravity of this fight, they seem to think it's right wing, left wing, ha ha ha, it's
Yes,
a big
exactly.
joke.
That they're thinking about it the wrong way. It's sorry, I just got a little X here. Um, but you're totally exactly. This right left is it's the wrong way to think about it. It's the sort of the extinctionists versus the pro-humans. And once you see that it's extinctionists versus the pro-humans, then it becomes very clear.
So, Elon, when are you going to? I know you got 100 irons in the fire, but I've really, when you talk about we need to create a plan B for humanity, well, that's really
No, it's not.
plan
It's not
A.
a plan. I mean,
An
as I said,
alternate, an alternate, an alternate master plan. Because the globalists are in
oh,
control right now. You're trying to wrest control with us, helping. I mean, well, when are you going to put out your battle plan, or you're already putting it out in pieces?
no, what I'm saying is that actually, I think we should expand humanity. Like basically, we should have basically more kids. Population should increase, uh, and and we should become a multi-planet species and make life multiplanetary. Build a self-sustaining civilization on Mars, and then ultimately, this will be long after I'm dead, probably, but well, almost certainly, we can go to other star systems and go out there and I don't know, maybe we'll find some long dead alien civilizations. Um, and I don't think we want to be one of those lame one planet civilizations that never got beyond, its home planet. Um, I mean, we gotta, what are the aliens gonna think of that? It's like we got to make a good showing. Team Human,
Well,
let's
yeah,
go.
and that would absolutely that would be
LFG.
certainly disappointing. But
So,
it's essential and truthfully, it's so amazing we'd even speak about these things. Only 2 years ago, you couldn't even speak about these subjects, but it's so pertinently obvious to anyone who pays attention, and it is scary. And expansion and humanistic views are certainly the way to progress, and it has to be done. There's no other way. Just like a business, just like you guys said, if you stand still, you die. And it takes a few brave. Absolutely, that would be
LFG.
certainly disappointing. But
So,
it's essential and truthfully, it's so amazing we'd even speak about these things. Only 2 years ago, you couldn't even speak about these subjects, but it's so pertinently obvious to anyone who pays attention, and it is scary. And expansion and humanistic views are certainly the way to progress, and it has to be done. There's no other way. Just like a business, just like you guys said, if you stand still, you die. And it takes a few brave people to break the matrix. You have to break the dam, and I think bravery is so important because it puts a crack in the dam, and it shows that if there's people out there brave enough to risk getting canceled, risk lawsuits, risk lawfare, then it's going to inspire bravery amongst the rest of the populace, and it becomes extremely hard to lie to brave people. And I think that that's one of the largest pandemics of Earth today is bravery. And when I say bravery, I don't mean that in any kind of negative connotation. Bravery is being full of love and loving the people around you and sticking up for your community and loving where you live and loving your country. And it's brave to do those things. And it's love
What do
that's
the
going to crack the
globalists teach
matrix in
us?
the end.
Children are bad. We're ugly. Humans create, all this racial division. They want us to hate each other, so we just
yeah.
give up, roll over, so the globalists can have the future.
I would just
Yeah, and
like to
I think
say
the
here,
globalists are short-sighted too, because the thing is that you can't really separate yourself from civilization. So I think those who are sort of advocating it's really I think it's just logical to be pro civilization. You don't actually necessarily have to be altruistic. You just have to think long term and say, obviously, you cannot exist in any good way without civilization. I mean, just watch one episode of Naked and Afraid, and see how much you want to go live in a forest by yourself.
Well, we're in a
It's not fun.
we're in a super pivotal moment now. And the reason we're in a pivotal moment is because the machines cannot do the policing as of yet. My brother and I often
True.
talk about how bad COVID would have been if they had Terminator machines. You didn't have your mask on. You couldn't even appeal to the empathy of the person who knew how insane it all was. As soon as the
Yeah.
machines control the policing, it's absolutely over. And we're not that far away. So we're in a very pivotal period now where the bravery that's required to resist the globalist oppression has to happen now. Soon the
I
technology
absolutely,
will exist and
I
it's
absolutely
over for
agree.
everybody.
We
So
are
so
we are at
so
a critical crossroads right now in the entire future of the human destiny, and I called it Plan B, but I mean, Elon, what do you call it? Just an alternate plan for humanity? Because we should have a debate because the Black Rocks and the globalists are right now in control. If they were 100% control, you and others have helped wrest it to maybe they're in 80% control. They're losing control very quickly as people discover what they're doing. But what would you call the debate and the discussion about a pro-human future? Just team humanity?
Yeah, Team Humanity, absolutely. That sounds good. But I think something that is really important is like you just literally have to have kids, or there's no next generation. Alex, do you have kids?
Yes, I do. I'm not as prolific as you, but I wish I was. They're the best thing in my life. I have four.
Okay, great. And Andrew?
I do have a few. I won't let you down, Elon. I'm coming. I'm
Okay,
coming to
good.
take over your title. I'm coming to take over. I'm doing my best. You know, I got to
Okay.
use my good looks for something.
Well, I
so
think we
so
need to.
so I
I
hear.
think we ought to encourage people to have kids
And
and
this
just
is the bottom line argument. This is what is so important. We just talked about how the globalists are ultimately selfish and only care
Well,
about
look at
their own power and
most of the
control.
globalists don't have children,
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course,
but
because they're
here,
selfish.
here's the
when you
thing.
have a child.
You guys are all attacking the globalists, but if you ask a globalist, like I have friends who I would consider globalists, you ask them, their ideologies are aligned that they believe that somebody living across the world is just as valuable as somebody who lives in America. And I know, there's
They've already
arguments.
enslaved the third world, and they're
No,
using them as
no, but that's not how everybody who you would categorize as
no, you're
a
right. There's a lot of
globalist
useful
thinks. No,
idiot globalists, but
that's
the
not.
globalists at the top are depopulationists. That's their
Oh, so
religion.
maybe if you want to look at the top, you can say globalist at the top. Some of them might have that view, but if you just talk to an ordinary person who views themselves as a globalist, they're not saying, "Oh, I'm evil." They're not an evil person. They just have this belief that human being around the globe is equal. That's
I would
all
call
they're
that
looking
an
at. So
internationalist. That's an internationalist. A globalist wants one world government run by corporations.
yeah, well, I mean, I think you can label them differently, but I think if you talk to somebody who's
Well,
a
Henry
globalist, they're gonna.
Kissinger was a globalist. Zbigniew Brzezinski was a globalist. I'm not trying to be mean to you, but their number one rule is the Earth is too small. We can't expand. We've got to bean count and put everybody on rations. We've got to social engineer and end the normal human program because humans are failed. And they want to turn us into factory farm humans. Those
Well,
that are allowed to survive.
Yeah,
I think
well,
that.
I'll
let me,
answer the
let,
question. I'll answer the question
sorry
quickly.
guys, if we can just say some of these titles are a little confusing. If say someone's an internationalist or a globalist, I think where what can achieve some disambiguation here is to say does someone have as an axiomatic belief that there are too many people on the earth, or do they not? Do they believe that the earth can sustain the current population, or do they think it cannot? Now the reality is earth can actually handle a human population probably 10 times larger than the current
Yes.
population. Earth is actually very sparsely populated by humans. We only see density because if we're a dense urban environment like New York or Boston, London or something like that. But if like here would be like a good test. If you took a plane from LA to New York and you try to drop a bowling ball and hit somebody, your chances of success are basically zero.
You'd have to drop 10,000 bowling balls, maybe.
Yes, you just and I'll tell you sort of something that may scare people a little bit is that there are thousands of objects falling onto Earth from space all the time. But how often do you hear about someone actually getting hit by
That's
falling
right.
by meteorites?
Absolutely.
There's one known case of a woman with her house getting hit by one.
Elon,
Yeah.
I want to just respond to Ed actually for a second because again, when it comes, I think it's good to get a good counter view here. I think that there's two different things going on, Ed. And I know what you're trying to say, but there's a separate point about your obligations, right? So you can, and I believe everything has been said about the importance of expansionism for humanity being pro civilization and expansion pro human race to win. That's like a separate axis, though, from saying where are your obligations where you are, right? So we talked about procreation and family, then we talked about the nation. Well, look, I have two kids. As a father, my moral obligation, I believe, is first and foremost to my family. And then, let's say, as a president, my moral obligation is to the citizens of the nation that I lead. And then you can worry about hunger in the Congo or whatever else needs to happen in the Darfur or in other places. And so I don't think that you're saying necessarily that life.
Charity begins at home.
Exactly. And that's not saying that life abroad is any less valuable inherently. And so when you say like the globalist view is that all it's saying is that all life is equal wherever it is on Earth, it's not like I think an alternative view is countering that. There's also just a separate place in terms of where you're situated. Where's your obligation, right? As a father, it's to your family. As a president, it's to your country. And just because you believe that's the hierarchy of your obligations means somebody else is the leader of one of those other countries. And that's an obligation that they have too. But that's like a different discussion.
Well, the neoliberals,
Yep.
the neoliberals in their own PR, they're the ones doing the worst things on the earth. They just say, oh, we want global government because we want to give Africa's representation. Then they lock them down for 3 years and starve 30 million of them to death and then organize them to flood us as a political underclass. This is cold-blooded Henry Kissinger's State Department Memorandum 200. I mean,
Yeah,
they've got
it's not black and white.
I think there's two different conversations.
but what is black and
Wait,
what
but
is
can we
what
just?
is
I'm sorry.
what is black?
Go ahead, Andrew. Go ahead, Andrew, and then we'll go to Dave. Andrew.
Okay.
What I do believe is black and white is simply, if you read a history book, you'll see the worst things that humanity have ever done have been done with good intentions. That's what's so bad about evil acts, is that people
Road
think
to
they're
hell.
doing the right thing. And that's the most dangerous thing about it. And this idea that they look at all human life as sacred and all the same, I actually disagree. I think the reason they will prioritize people in a third world country, for example, you'll say it's because they see us as equal. I think it's because they see us now as spoilt and annoying. They don't like that we need pensions and living space and healthcare. They simply want slaves and a robot class, and they'll do anything it takes to get it, and they'll get it from anywhere they can. And when someone comes along and says, well, my intentions are good, I'm not interested in that, because you can name any Holocaust or any atrocity in history. The people didn't think they were the bad guys. They often thought they were the good guys. And I guess the easy way to look at life is you want to be having as many children as possible. You want to pray other people do the same, and you want those people to enjoy freedom. And anyone who's coming along restricting speech, restricting access to certain things, restricting movement, restricting, all they're doing is trying to restrict so they can control. And nobody in a history book ever who did that either was the good guy. I think it's very clear to see who's on the right side of history and who isn't. And I advocate freedom for everybody. If I disagreed with absolutely everything Alex said, I'd still be glad he's back on X. And these people can't even handle a different opinion. Do you think they're going to allow the people who have a different opinion to them to share water or share food or share anything else once they have
And the
absolute
reason they don't
control?
want another opinion is they want to misrepresent what Elon Musk or Andrew Tate or Vivek Ramaswamy or any of. I'm telling you, they want us silenced so they can lie about what we said.
Yeah.
I have a quick.
I agree with you.
I have a
Hold
quick.
on. We'll go, Jackson. I'm going to go to you right after Dave.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I mean, I'm just saying, I agree that with you there. I think that a lot of the media and a lot of these platforms do want to silence voices because they want their voice to be heard louder. So yeah, I definitely hear you there. I definitely don't. I definitely, as when it comes to globalists, I think, it's not black and white. You're not either a globalist or you're not. I think people fall in between, and there's different reasons for why people might feel one way about one, you could say globalist idea and another. So I mean, I don't like painting people like, with a black and white pen, because I feel that everybody falls somewhere in the middle.
All I know is this. That there are people that want a corporate world government whose aim is depopulation and not giving the general public access to technology by lying about resources and literally saying carbon dioxide that plants breathe is evil. and then telling us the world's going to end in 2030 and the ice caps are all going to melt, and none of that's true. So our children basically give up on the future and decide not to have children. That's all I'm saying. And Elon Musk is promoting an optimistic, pro-human future that the science and evidence shows is real and that we need.
Gentlemen, I have to
Yeah,
go.
I just want to be sort of yeah, exactly. I want to be clear about
See
my
you, Jake.
position. I'm super pro-human, and I mean all humans. You know, humans in America, humans in
Somebody's got their
Africa,
thing open
Asia,
peeing.
and
Somebody's
everywhere
got
else.
their phone open in the bathroom.
Yeah,
Phone.
that's Vivek. Vivek, that's your phone, Vivek. I'm not able to mute you. Vivek. All right,
um,
perfect. Go ahead, Elon.
Sorry about that.
So, well, I hope you feel better.
I feel great. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys.
Um, yeah, you know, I'm super pro-human, like for Team Humanity here, and I just think we want to make sure that people have a positive view of the future, like I think I encounter a lot of people who have actually very pessimistic conclusions about the future, and if you try to unpack that and say where does that pessimism come from, and I think like these are like, you know, good people, like they have good intentions. I think they think about things. Often come from is believing that there are too many humans on the planet. This is false. Earth can easily sustain far more than the current population, um, and but they've been told this thing and they've believed it, and it is false.
I'm
Now
going to sign
I'm
out,
very I'm
gentlemen.
very pro environment.
Bye,
Obviously, I
Andrew.
think I might have done more about more. You know, I'm certainly I might have done more. You know, for sustainable energy than maybe any single human. So you know, I would consider myself an environmentalist, but I also believe in physics and reality and not sort of being alarmist about things.
Well, something you said was really smart, and because I've seen the equations. I'm not a mathematician or rocket scientist like you, but we need the fossil fuels to get to the new technologies and
that is
transfer over.
true.
You can't cut
Yes.
them all off and then not have it. They're blowing up the bridge that gets them there.
Yes.
Gentlemen,
Andrew.
what I would like to say,
Go ahead.
my final point, I would like to say, I often get asked by people who follow me, they say, who do you think who controls the world? Who do you think the Matrix is? And I use the Matrix as a very simple way to explain that they purport a false version of reality that everyone buys into to keep your mind occupied so they can extract your body heat from you for the soulless machines, which are essentially the globalists we're talking about. And I try and say that I still believe that we run the world. There's a lot more of us than them. We still control the world. It's just down to what we will accept and what will allow them to do to us. And that's why bravery is so essential and so important. And I know I can come across as brash with my
No,
message, but
no, you're not. You need to
when I'm
stop
telling
giving up our power.
16-year-olds to go and get rich and buy a fast car and train hard and go to the gym, etc., because these young men are far less likely to blindly comply. And it's extremely important that they don't psyop the next generation of young masculine youth.
And
And
that's why
we
the
still,
system was scared of you, Andrew, because you were doing an extreme version of it to shock them out of it, to show them how to have a destiny, how to have desire, how to want to be into the future. And then that's the
well,
same thing in a different way that Elon's doing.
you're right. We still control the world, and it's down to what we will accept. And it's going to take bravery and love. You need to love the people around you, and love the human race, and love the place you're from. And I just want to wrap up by saying that I would never kill myself. And if they put me back in that dungeon to starve, I hope you will all do your very best to get me out, because I'm in a very
We will,
precarious
Andrew.
legal
Love you.
situation.
Can I just throw something out? Because I'm going to talk to Elon Musk here and everybody else. And this is surreal. Andrew Tate and Vivek Ramaswamy. This is crazy. John, I've got a friend I want to get on. We also have Mark Dice, who's really stood up for free speech. He's on the line if he can get a quick.
I'm going to leave
question in.
Alex, but I just want to say welcome on Twitter, and I think there will be more truth than not, all else equal. So hail to the
Thank you,
truth.
gentlemen.
Take
Thank
it
you
easy,
very
guys.
much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek.
Bye.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Vivek.